Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Reviewing Comics with me, your host, Alexander Turbin. Today we're going to be going over Rust, number 4 from Now Comics. But before we get into that, I'd like to show you some of my own work. This is Random Access. It's a full-size, full-color comic from me. And you can pick these up at patreon.com/Alexander Turbin, or you can go to my website, alexanderturbin.com. And they're all there. Or you can go to my email address, alexturbin0441 at Yahoo. But my website, alexanderturbin.com, also has all kinds of other stuff like Mutandis and The Forlorn and all kinds of other stuff. So go there, check them out, and let me know what you think. So we're going to look at Rust, number 4. It's one of those comics. This is from 1989. It's one of those comics that I picked up a couple of issues now and then. They were on the newsstand, and that's where I got them. I don't think I got this on the newsstand. I got because it doesn't have the barcode or whatever. And a funny thing, I want to start out with this. It's approved by the Comics Code Authority. I assume that not this book or not this iteration. I assume the ones that they sent out to the newsstand were Comics Code Authority approved, and this is the direct distribution to the comic book stores. But Now is very happy to be approved by the Comics Code, so they can go onto the newsstand, and I can see why they would kind of tout that and flaunt that as being being an accomplishment, because it means that they would be able to be distributed on the newsstand and get more fans and get more money and have more distribution, and that's a great thing for the comic book. But for comics in general, the Comics Code Authority was so horrible and soul crushing that being affiliated with the group doesn't seem to me like it's a great thing. And I kind of think that it was a mistake to flaunt that Comics Code Authority tag on their comics, even though it did mean that they would get higher distribution. I don't know. Excuse me. Let me know what you guys think. Is this approved by the Comics Code Authority? A great thing for this comic book publisher at the time? Was it a great thing for them because they got to distribute to a higher amount, or was it selling out? I mean, is it, when you're a company, is it selling out to sell more of your product? I don't know. I might have to do a little bit more research into this and see what issues actually had the Comics Code Authority and stuff. But one of the things is they just so. I'm going to read it. I'm going to stop the review and read it. The Comics Magazine Association of America was formed back in 1954. Its goal was to ensure the quality of the comics you can purchase on your local newsstand, aka I don't know. Anyway, what am I trying to think of? The word. Anyway, let's get back to it. It's not to assure the quality. That's for sure, though. Quality editorial content is very carefully observed by the CMAA, aka the Comics Code. Now Comics has been approved for its quality and consistent editorial commitment. We at Now Comics are very proud to be a member of an association with a 30-year-old dedication to comics and their growth. All right, I'm disgusted by this. It's censorship. That's what it is. That's the word I was looking for. It's downright dirty censorship. And I could understand the old EC Comics. They probably needed a little bit of censorship, but turning a whole industry upside down and just hobbling it to its knees by this one Comics Code Authority. I'm pretty much disgusted by this comic book and the editors and the publishers that they sold out. They did sell out. I'm not questioning that anymore. And to give the accolades to the Comics Code Authority was just disgusting. It's none of these things. It's purely censorship, and it's censoring the things that I don't know. It's just horrible. It's almost destroyed a whole industry, and it's really disgusting. Let me know if you disagree with me, and we can have a friendly little debate about it. But I don't know of many artists that are like, woohoo, Comics Code Authority. Um, uh, anyway, that's all they go to say, and then they say they talk about the wider distribution and all that stuff. They were kissing ass, and they just, I don't know. I'm just disgusted by it. So I'm already disgusted by this book. Rust, like I was saying, in the beginning before I lost my, went on this tangent about the Comics Code Authority. Rust was one of those books that it's pretty. It's awfully pretty. They have beautiful covers, and they're usually hypersexualized or innately sexualized in some sort of way, where they'll have some sort of phallic reference on the cover or something like that. And then it's painted. A lot of these are painted. This is actually volume 2, and the originals were from Adventure Comics. And I am gonna try to go back and get. I don't know if they're black and white or if they're color. If anybody knows or has any of the original Rust comics, let me know if they are black and white or if they're in color, and if they're any good. I would pick up a Rust every once in a while. It came out sporadically on the newsstand. I think that was one of the things from the Comics Code Authority, that they didn't have the regular distribution. They had some sort of other distribution that they, sometimes people would get them, sometimes they wouldn't, or maybe it was really popular on the newsstand and people gathered them up. I don't know, but I would grab one every once in a while when I saw it. But for the most part, it came out so irregularly or whatever that I could not get a regular run of these comics. So I was often lost and I didn't know what was going on. And until recently, when I Googled what Rust actually it's Scott, I can't remember his name, has some sort of accident. So he has a thin layer of metal around his skin and he can control metal. I have 2 or 3 Rust comic books. I don't see in any of them him using any kind of power. So if that's wrong or if it changed or something, I'm really looking for a Rust aficionado to kind of come into the show or to kind of let us know what is up with Rust. Maybe I'll try to find some other reviews or whatnot and see what's going on. But anyway, we're 7 minutes in. I haven't even talked about the book. But it's going to be kind of quick. So I didn't get a lot of these issues. Every once in a while, I would pick one up and I would find it, and it's awfully pretty. So how can you not pick it up? It starts off. Here's a character. I assume that's Rust. He has flaky, rusty skin or something, and I think he's in jail or something. This book is very convoluted, and it's a fine line between talking down or talking up to your reader and making things confusing for the reader. I haven't read 1 through 3. This is number 4. I haven't read 1 through 3. You should treat each comic book like it's your first for a reader. There should have been some sort of, instead of this garbage here, it should have had some sort of, or look at all that wasted space, some sort of intro as to the character, maybe what happened before, that kind of thing. It's something that I often complain about indie comics. So apparently he's in prison or something, and his girlfriend, I don't know how they're related or what. I assume that she's his girlfriend. She says not to give up. He's in some sort of blathering, I don't know, comatose state or something. But she just keeps saying, don't give up. We're going to try to get you out of here and something. And then it cuts to another scene where there's like this dictator, which I assume is the one that's on the cover. This is a beautiful cover. And you can see how the artist is really a fantastic artist, a fantastic painter. And he sometimes he really goes into detail on a lot of his stuff. And then sometimes it's just a quick wash, which painting a comic, I've tried to paint a comic book before and it's incredibly difficult. It takes a lot of it takes a lot of patience, because each painted panel it's a painting within itself. So really, painting a whole comic book is just an incredible task. And even if I complain about some of the art in the interiors of the book, I wholeheartedly think that it's a great ambition, and it's definitely a good try on the artist's side. I don't know who this is. They don't really introduce him. There's no introduction at all about who this is. I don't know where this takes place. Is this in Mexico? I mean, he's a dictator, but it doesn't seem like, it looks like it's an American flag there. So is he in a regular prison? I have no clue. I have no frame of reference. So I have no idea what's going on with this dictator. And he's just kind of spewing some kind of dictatorial stuff. And they're talking about Scott Baker, that's his name. And he's become some sort of political figure or some kind of thing. I don't know. Don't know what he was arrested for. I don't know what all of this stuff has to do with all of together. So I'm totally lost. And even rereading it, I wouldn't know what's going on, because I have no clue who these characters are or what happened in the previous time. I do know that he has become some sort of glorious figure, some sort of figure that the people are connecting themselves to. So it's like anti-dictatorship, something like that. I'm really thinking that this is a take on the Dark Knight, and that they're trying to do a similar thing with the Dark Knight, and how Batman turned the mutants into the Bat, his soldiers and stuff like that. And it's all kind of very loosely thrown together on this version, whereas the Dark Knight, it's all pretty close knit stuff as to understanding what's going on with all of the characters. Plus, I mean, you have the established characters of Batman, Gordon, Joker, and all these other characters, so you know what's going on. You know who these characters are and what they've done. Rust, I have no idea who he is. I don't know how he got his powers, if he even has powers, because I've never even seen him use powers. So they let him go from prison, or they're transporting him somewhere. I don't know where. And some of them hate him. Some of them love him. I guess there's a lot of controversy on him, because they throw apples or tomatoes, rotten tomatoes and stuff at him. He goes into the prisoner transport, and this dictator, or is he the leader of the prison that he's at? I don't know. I really don't know, and it makes me so angry, because this is so beautifully painted that I just am completely lost, and it really makes for a horrible reading experience. So they leave, and then these other guys show up in the next scene. Don't know who they are, and especially he's trying to have them talk in a weird, strange dialect, much like Dark Knight Returns, in how the mutants and stuff talk in these different ways, and they're passing somebody. One says stupid cow. I understand that. Dead critter. I don't understand what they're going on. One of them has a gun, or they both have shotguns. Apparently there's some kind of assassins or something. So anyway, there's the girlfriend from the beginning, who I guess is going to try to save Rust, or Scott Baker, from being transported. But then this person comes along out of nowhere. I don't know who she is. She's just a crazy person. She sees somebody with a gun, so she attacks them. It just makes no sense. So these two girls, one of them is Scott Baker's girlfriend trying to release him from prison. Don't know. One is, I don't know, a crazy person trying to do something. I don't know. Gun goes off. And then, all right. Nope. I thought for a second that these two were guards for but they're not. These are soldiers, and transporting Scott. I think these are assassins. They hear the gunshot go off, and then they decide to kind of, I don't know, get into the action, attack somebody. I don't know. But then Scott hears the same thing, and he wakes up from his I don't know, his mental state that he's in, knocks these two guys' heads together, busts out of the transportation, I think. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And here are the two assassins. That's because I'm gonna blow his flaky face away. Ain't nobody gonna steal my target. He ain't going no place. Okay, so these guys think that the gunshot is an assassination attempt on Scott Baker, but it's really the girlfriend trying to rescue him. So that's what's going on, and they're going to try to kill Rust because they are assassins. So these two girls keep fighting. Apparently, the girlfriend gets the worst of it, and the other one just kind of takes off running away. And Rust, aka Scott Baker, goes to her, consoling her, takes her gun, and shoots the two assassins. I don't know how he knew they were assassins, but I guess they have guns. They have shotguns. They look menacing. So he takes kills them with the gun. I don't know why he doesn't just use his metallic powers. I don't know. Does he have metallic powers? That's what I read on Google, but there really isn't a whole lot of stuff that when you can Google Rust. So please, anybody that's a fan of Rust, please clue me in a little bit about what's going on, because right now I'm having a horrible time with this comic book and the whole comic series in general. So they're walking along and they're trying to get away. I don't know. And then these pack of dogs, or a couple dogs, feral dogs, they look like they're supposed to be wolves, but they're obviously just dogs. And he talks about how nobody has looked at him as like he's a human other than animals. So he has this like sixth sense, or this new way of communicating with animals. So he makes the dog kind of obey what his commands are. And then it goes, meanwhile, elsewhere in the city, the natives are getting restless. I have no freaking clue what that means. It's some sort of mob gangsters, and they are using kids to deliver drugs. I have no clue what is going on here. So I guess they're just like these kids, and they're giving them, the older guys are giving them missions as to what to do. I think maybe these are missions and they're not drugs, but I think they do kind of talk about drugs and stuff. But I think maybe this is supposed to be Scott Baker's, aka Russ, symbol. Maybe they're friends of his, and they think that they're actually being like him because they're actually wearing a type of jacket that he would wear. I don't know. I think the old man gives them some sort of tasks to do. Maybe it's a little bit like Fight Club. I don't know. I'm just so flabbergastedly confused by this comic book. And then it starts off, and wallowing deep in the intestinal tracts of the bureaucratic maze is something far more dangerous than a Cuban general, a feminist with power. So, a feminist. Here's Cuban general. So, are they in Cuba? They must be in Cuba, all right? Does the whole story take place in Cuba? I have no clue. And who is this feminist? And who is this guy that she's treating like a... I don't know. This really isn't feminism. This whole book has some sort of political overtones. I don't know what they are. It's not clear at all. I think it might be a right-wing kind of thing, but I truly don't know, because she's a feminist, but it doesn't say who she is. All it says is that she's like the mistress of this guy. Is he a cop? Is he an FBI agent? Is he the dictator? Oh, I think he's the dictator. All right, so he's the Cuban dictator who his wife, girlfriend, mistress, something, she's in charge of him. So he really isn't the guy in power. She is the real power, and she has some sort of sexual control over this guy. Then they go back to the Cuban. I don't know. I guess they're Cuban kids who want to be like Rust. Scott Baker must have done something to kind of raise up the masses. Maybe he's trying to free Cuba. I have no clue. But they got sent a task, and apparently the task was to break into some sort of dog food making factory, or I don't know what these creatures are supposed to be. Are they supposed to be dogs? I think these are supposed to be dogs that they turn into either dog food or regular food for people. I don't know. I'm completely confused. But they go in, they steal a bunch of meat. I don't know. I guess it's dog meat, but they don't know or care or anything. And then the cops find them, and then they shoot them. But Rust is there, and he's noticing that they're dressed up just like him in his overcoat, and he gets very angry that they got shot. So, and he's realizing that they're dressed just like him. And that is how it ends. So I don't really have any answers for anybody, and I'm really, really hoping that some people watching this video has read a good amount of Rust and can clue me in on what is going on. The writing, nobody has any kind of real personalities, even Rust. I don't know who's a good guy. I don't know who's the bad guy. I assume this Cuban dictator is the bad guy. But how so? What's their motivations? And the story and the plot just really kind of rambles along and it stumbles along. And eventually things happen, but it's just so convoluted, and I just don't know who anybody is or what they're doing or what their motivations are. And I don't really care because I'm so confused. That being confused really ratchets down the caring of the comic book. If you don't know what's going on, you don't care, and it just ruins the whole reading experience, which is really what happened to me. So the writing, I'm just lost. I'm lost, and I don't care, and I don't feel like the characters have any kind of voices or any kind of dialogue or any kind of motivation. So I'm really written by Catherine Lulin, artist Jeff Lobenstein, and letterer Mars Hansen. So I'm sorry I didn't say who was written by and created by originally. Did they do volume 1? Is this a multi-team experience? I think it is, because I read that the writer and artist went on to do Green Arrow for DC. So they must have been pretty good. I think those were the original creators, and then they now took Rust and put it into some other creators' hands, and they were just so enamored maybe by the art that they thought this kind of political thing was appropriate. I don't know. The art, it is really good. I mean, it's watercolored, and some of it is really good, and you can see, just like every other comic, or a lot of other comics, that the artist does get fatigued, and it is so apparent when it's a painted comic, when the artist gets fatigued or when they get bogged down with having too much information. That's the thing with a painted comic, is if you have too much information, it takes so much longer to do this in painted style than to do it in like either a black and white or regular flat color. That having so much either background, like these painted comics often don't have any kind of background, or the backgrounds are very sparse, or the backgrounds are just kind of meandering lines that is just used by the color, stuff like that. This is kind of good, although even then this is super sparse, and it's actually kind of not in perspective appropriately. She looks like a giant woman in these little adobe houses, which maybe that's what it's supposed to be. I don't think so. Some of it, the close-ups, the background, you can get away with that because you've got this nice painterly quality, nice watercolor quality. It's really, really cool. But then when you back away, you really kind of notice that, like this here, you really kind of notice the sparse backgrounds. There's actually almost no backgrounds, which this, if you hint at it, that's kind of okay. Bill Sienkiewicz does it that way, and it really has some profound and deep meanings. But this here, is this supposed to be some sort of religious, iconic kind of thing? I have no idea. I mean, it's this bright light, this character who is in. I do like this monochromatic thing, this different kinds of blues, different kind of purples. I do love the colors. The colors in this are really the star of the show. And the guy, he can paint. This guy can really paint. You can see that from the cover. That's him, Lubinstein. I mean, he can obviously paint, and this here is really good. Like the first 4 or 5 pages are really good, but then it gets into the full nitty gritty and meat and potatoes of the story, and that's where he falters because it takes so much detail that he just can't do it. He would probably have had 3 or 4 months to produce this one issue, and they were trying for a monthly thing, and it would be almost impossible to do a fully painted issue in a month. So I mean, I applaud his tenacity and him, giving it his best, even though you can definitely see the his withering of the how much effort he was putting into each page and into each panel as the book goes along. But there are a lot of things I like. I like how I do like how rough it is, and there's so much texture, and the colors are very beautiful, and the way he uses the brush to move around the paint is really fantastic. And he says some really great light sources. It is a good page. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense, and it doesn't go along with the rest of the book. Like if this was a Sienkiewicz page, which it totally looks like a Sienkiewicz page, it would go along with the rest of the book. You would understand what was going on because you would have some sort of consistency. That's one of the things about this book, is very inconsistent. The way that it's painted in the beginning is very inconsistent with the way it's painted in the middle and the way it's painted in towards the end. I think there were certain pages, like these couple pages, that he really gave it his all. Maybe he had a little bit more time, or he just really enjoyed the imagery, so he put a little bit more effort into it. Not that he mailed it in, because you have to have that balance of doing something at an appropriate speed so you can get it out there on a monthly basis or whatever, and just kind of doing hack work and not trying your hardest. I don't think he was a hack. I just think he got bogged down with some of the details of what he had to do, and he couldn't do it. Rust, I'm really kind of torn, because I do love the cover. I love all of the Rust covers. They're really cool. And there's certainly different panels and different pages that I really, truly enjoy. And the colors are fantastic. How could you not flip through this and be like, oh, I'm getting this? But then fool me once, fool me twice, fool me, 12 months in a row. You're not going to. Yeah. See, he has a little Rust button, which I don't really understand why he hates him so much. I would like some kind of background in this, but I'm just not going to get so angry. So would I pick up Rust again? That's whether it gets a 7 as an indie comic book. I'm going to judge this a little bit harsher than a regular indie comic, because you do have all of these different people doing the editing and all this stuff, putting it all together. So you got the more people you have in the mixing of the pot, the more harsher I'm going to judge you. I'm judging it horribly by this editorial here on how wonderful it is to be approved by the Comics Code Authority. Screw them. That knocks you down. You were a 7. You started at a base 7. You could have gone up. That knocks you down 2 points. You're a 5. This whole story of stream of consciousness, and it's not even stream of consciousness. It's some sort of political rabble kind of. I'm not even sure what it is. But this whole what's worse than a Cuban general is a feminist with power. Anti-feminist. Fine, whatever. If you have some sort of political statement, that's fine. If it's something I don't agree with, that's fine. If it's done well, if it's told well, then I can go along for the ride. And if it's written and drawn really well, I can even go along with it. And if I don't agree with it, I can still enjoy it. There's a lot of stuff that is political that I don't agree with, but I still like it because I like the creators or whatever. So it's not all about the politics or what's going on, but it has to be done well, and or it has to be done correctly. And this just wasn't it because I can't even tell what's going on. I can't even tell what the political motivation is. So I'm going to give this. I'm going to give it a 4. I'm going to give it a 4 because I'm not going to go pick up later Rust. I will pick up if I see a Rust volume 1, 1, 2, or 3 or whatever. I'm going to pick those up because I'm genuinely interested in the character, or what I think is the character. But maybe if I read the first few issues and I really know exactly what's going on, I could come back to this and give it a new insights. But until that time, I'm just going to give this, I don't know. The art is really good. These first few pages are really good, and the cover I really like. I'm giving it a 4, and that is strictly for the cover and strictly for the first few pages of art. So let me know what you guys think. If you love Rust, let me know. I really would appreciate hearing from anybody that really does like Rust. So if this is you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I go over lots of indie comics, usually 80s and 90s black and whites, but I'll always the oddball thing that I can find that I think people would enjoy looking at. And so please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell and all that cool stuff. And thanks for watching. And I'm going to have one for Christmas, another video for Christmas, hopefully. But until then, have a great day or have a great couple days. And I'll see you later, and keep on creating.